Quentin Gibson, y'all, finally getting the recognition that he deserves. Had to get on here talk about this, show off his highlights again because it's just been too long since I've watched them. So we're gonna break down Quentin Gibson. Y'all enjoy this highlight reel that we got of this young man who's absolutely going to tear it up for the Buffs. And I think now I kind of see him as a cornerstone for the program. I don't know about y'all. So y'all smash that like, join the chat. Let me know what's up, how you guys feel about this. But named MaxPreps National Player of the Year. Imagine that. MaxPreps National Player of the Year. So I'm going to read MaxPreps' article on why he's finally getting the recognition that he deserves. This is about Quentin Gibson. I love it. So y'all enjoy these highlights. Let's get to it. So Quentin Gibson of North Crowley in Fort Worth, Texas, is the 2024 MaxPreps National High School Football Player of the Year. The senior wide receiver joins the likes of Derrick Henry, Kyler Murray, Bryce Young, Jackson Dart, Caleb Downs, and DJ Lagway as winners of the award. Gibson led North Crowley to its best season in school history, going 16-0, winning the Class 6A Division I state championship and ranked number 3 nationally by MaxPreps. The 5'9", 165-pound playmaker hauled in 93 receptions for 2,009 yards, 9th in state history, and 36 touchdowns, 4th in state history. He added a 75-yard touchdown pass, 40 yards rushing, and 2 more scores on the ground, and had a punt return TD. So, hey, that's like 39 total touchdowns. 40 total touchdowns. Excuse my poor math. Incredible. Gibson was named Offensive MVP of the state title game after posting 7 catches for 181 yards and 3 touchdowns in a 50-21 win over Westlake out of Austin. Chris Jimerson connected with Quentin Gibson for a 75-yard score on the first play of the game to set the tone, and his 3 touchdown receptions tied the state championship game record. Wow. Against number 6 Duncanville in the semifinals, Gibson had 5 catches for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns in a 36-34 win. North Crowley snapped the Panthers' 16-game playoff win streak and ended their chance at a three-peat. Both TD receptions came on 4th down, just ice in his veins, baby. Gibson was the focal point on offense for the 7th highest scoring team in the country. The Panthers averaged 54 points per game and broke the Dallas area record with 864 points. North Crowley established itself as one of the best teams in the state with an early season victory over back-to-back 6A Division II state champions DeSoto. Gibson hauled in 7 receptions for 180 yards and 4 touchdowns in the 57-51 win. The following week, Gibson had the best game of his season in a 49-28 win over Geyer with 6 catches for 247 yards. That's insane. 3 touchdowns to go with another score on the ground. Gibson is the second wide receiver to be named the MaxPreps National Player of the Year, joining Brew McCoy of Modern Day, Santa Ana, California, who took home that honor in 2018. He's the 8th player from Texas to win the award, which is most out of any state. Yeah, that's right. Sorry, Florida. Texas is king. Sorry, California. Texas is where high school football is at, baby. Gibson joins Riley Dodge of South Lake Carroll, Garrett Gilbert of Lake Travis, Jonathan Gray of Aledo, Kyler Murray of Allen, 2-time winner, Kay Klubnik of Westlake, and DJ Lagway of Willis. Regarded as a 3-star prospect by 24/7 Sports. Lame. Gibson signed with Colorado in December after fielding more than 20 FBS offers. So, yeah, 24/7 on 3. I like to call them on these nuts. ESPN, I don't think any of these guys had him as a 4-star. Maybe ESPN did, because sometimes, man, they go against the grain. Rivals. But MaxPreps got this thing right. When you have a receiver tearing up the highest level of Texas high school football the way that he has, it's time to recognize how special of a talent that individual is. In this case, it's Quentin Gibson. And I'm glad that just because he is 5'9". They're not stripping him of this award, much like the recruiting ranking sites are, in my opinion, because he's not 5'11", 6 foot, whatever, putting up these stats. I mean, it's not like he's doing this against 3A out in Texas, or 3A out in Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, something like that. No, this guy's doing it against 6A Texas high school football talent and competition. Um, Size doesn't really matter at the receiver position, baby. I love it. Congratulations to Quentin Gibson, MaxPreps National Player of the Year in 2024. And it's cool. Like, he's been part of course, North Crowley. I think this was their first state title, if I remember correctly. Program builder, 16-0. Again, I love the fact that the guys that we recruit from high school, y'all, they're winners. They are culture setters. I believe when Quentin Gibson talked on Nightcap to Shannon and Ocho, he was saying, I thought he said he would be here in January. So hopefully that's the case. Let me know if you guys know in the comments if that's like official at all. But he kind of reminds me, guys. I want to know your comps in the chat. I'll get to a few of your comments here. Let me know kind of who you comp him to. But hey, National Player of the Year, I feel like saying this, Antonio Brown, baby, without the CTE. So I love that. Like, saying Antonio Brown, yeah, give me that every single day. I think he's, uh, he's got some deceptive, I feel like, wiggle and speed to him. Kind of like how Antonio Brown did, and played bigger than his size, right? Because Antonio Brown is also kind of like a smaller guy as well, at least in the NFL. And I feel like he was always making plays in the biggest moments and all that. So I I can't wait to see what he's going to do. I'll always temper my expectations for true freshmen, regardless of what their rating was coming into their true freshman season. But I mean, we saw Draylon Miller get on the field this year and do really, really well. So maybe Quentin Gibson's one of those guys to where, hey, like, he actually doesn't end up redshirting, but we'll see how it all transpires. We got some great veteran receivers now ready to take over, such as Omarion Miller, Draylon, Cam. We got Jonah Williams on the way. Hopefully we can grab another veteran wide receiver as well. But yeah, Quentin Gibson, he very well could be one of these dudes that, you ends up being one of the best players we had when it's all said and done, right? When it's time for him, hopefully, to go to the NFL. That's the dream, right? And all those names that were mentioned of the guys from Texas who have won this award, I think all of them ended up having pretty good college careers. And what was I going to say? Yeah, and just the guys who have like won the award in general. A lot of these guys went on to, have about half of these guys went on to have, a good amount of success, or will have some success in terms of being drafted fairly high and hopefully having some NFL success. Some other winners that weren't mentioned, Terrell Pryor. I think they mentioned Garrett Gilbert. He didn't really pan out in the NFL, but is what it is. Derrick Henry, Kyler Murray, man, Tate Martell. Ooh. JT Daniels. Didn't he play like 12 years in college football, I felt like? But yeah, Brew McCoy is a guy that in 2018, yeah, I guess he's going to the NFL this year, if I remember correctly. DJU. But yeah, Jackson Dart, he'll be drafted this year, I think. Cabe Klubnik, he'll be drafted next year. Caleb Downs is amazing. DJ Lagway is trending way up. So, yeah, I mean, you get at least one Hall of Famer out of this list with Kyler Murray. But, yeah, Brew McCoy is the only other wide receiver to have won this award. And, yeah, we'll see what, if he's able to do anything at the next level. But I love this. This dude's, yeah, he's unreal. I love just, posting his highlights or just watching them, because he makes big plays from all over. You can put him out wide. You can put him in the slot. I think he's a great route runner. I'm not like an expert on, doing all this scouting stuff, but I would say, hey, like he's not just running, screens and go routes. I mean, uh, I felt like he runs quite a bit of a variety of routes, which is great to see. And working with Jason Phillips, his route running is going to get even better, right? So I can't wait to see what he does. So let me go to another highlight tape here after this, and then I'll get to some of your comments. But yeah, I just wanted to keep this on Quentin Gibson. I'm just really excited for him. I know that some of y'all said, Wester or Jimmy. I feel like he might have more straight line speed. Maybe he's like a combination, honestly, if he hits his potential of Jalen Wester and Jimmy, because I feel like he could develop into having the route running that Wester has with having that straight line speed that Jimmy has, right? That's kind of how I feel about it. Let's get to another like fairly long highlight tape. Let's see what he's got here. The DeSoto one was pretty fun. They might have, yeah. Let's check out that one. I mean, he destroyed DeSoto in this one. I think I might have already shown it. Oh, this is a great one. 81 Gators. Percy Harvin. Yeah, totally see a lot of Percy Harvin in his game. I love that. Shirley, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Y'all be sure to smash that like. Subscribe if you haven't. We're almost to 13K. I guess that's going to be my goal here to reach that at the end of the month. So, yeah, should be a 5-star. I agree, LD. I agree, man. But finally getting some recognition, didn't come with the stars, whatever. But hey, this award means way more than stars. Lamar, you think CU was running Coach Prime's high school playbook or Shador's playbook? Dude, you guys are. I think we were running Pat Shermer's playbook for his offense with Shador. I think Shador had a very heavy influence on what those plays were. And I think I think Pat Shermer's going to have a different playbook for the talent this year. I mean, that's what good coaches do, right? But that is my honest take. I don't know if that scratches your itch, so to speak, on maybe a satisfactory reaction, but that's my thing. A pimp named Respect. Man, guys, where do you come up with these names? Because I almost feel like I need to change up my name. David Talks Buffs is just kind of bland, but Travis Hunter's bland. Anyways, Funky Town, Texas, finally on the map. Every Texas city took out athletes to win chips. Glad we're finally staying in the city. Hey, I love that. Or took your athletes to win chips. So, hey, I love to see that North Crowley is getting the success that they did. Because, I mean, I don't follow Texas high school football too closely. I probably will now more now that I live in San Antonio, but like I feel like North Crowley, they're always in the playoffs for the most part, right? Like they're always at least, getting out of their district and whatnot. So it's great to see that they had the success that they did this year, going up against some more, I think, like traditional powerhouse high school programs. It was awesome to see. See, Black, I'm with you. Played like a 5-star. Hey, here you go. Yeah. You want dogs? They grow on trees in Fort Worth, baby. Yeah, everybody always gets, caught up with Austin, Dallas. But hey, you go to Houston, Fort Worth. They got a lot of guys. Maybe San Antonio. I don't know if they got the maybe the quantity that those other cities that I just mentioned have. But hey, I think they still got some good players down here. Says you can run a 4.2 40-yard dash. Well, let's see it. Let's see it. Now that Travis, Jimmy, those guys are gone, who do you think is going to be the fastest player on the team? Who do you think Quentin Gibson's going to have to challenge for the fastest player on the team? Yeah, Antonio Brown. That's my comp, baby. I love it. Jimmy, let's go. Wester. Yeah, I said a little bit of both of them, maybe, hopefully, would be his ceiling type of thing. I think it would be awesome. Reminds me of Tavon Austin back in the day, or a DeAnthony Thomas when he was at Oregon. Those are really good historical comps as well. Just a guy that you just want to get the ball in his hands, see what he can do. And Dante, I mean, you're right, man. This dude looks pretty unreal. He definitely does. And again, it's not like he's doing this against just nobodies, in Wisconsin. Right? This guy is tearing up 6A Texas high school football. You can't deny that he should be ready to play at the FBS Big 12 level here very soon. Yeah, it's like a video game. Yeah, but Percy's a pretty cool comparison. I like that. Rodney, what do I think of Antoine Littleton from Maryland? I know nothing about him. I'm sorry, Rodney Freeman. I'll need to do some research. His quarterback at Crowley is a dog too. When does he come out? Can we get him? Be honest, man. I am being honest. Like sometimes, guys, I just don't believe in like all the conspiracy things. I think that again, like Pat Shermer and Shador Sanders, like they wanted to air out the football. Uh, I don't think Shador was very comfortable under center. I think we saw that earlier in the year. I think that's why we ran pretty much out of gun and pistol the entire year. I think that definitely with Julian Lewis, when it's his time to come in, you're going to see a higher ratio under center. But I think all coaches, they try and gear their offense towards player strengths and what they're comfortable with. But I do think Shador probably had more say on game plan and checks at the line than either Salter or Juju will have next year, as should a potential first overall pick in the NFL draft should have at any school. Dante, I'm a little worried about Pat Shermer though. His play calls aren't bad. His play designs are suspect. Yeah, I feel like he's competent, but he's not going to reinvent the wheel. I would love to see some more creativity out of Pat Shermer. I'm hoping that we get that with Caden Salter. I think both Caden Salter and Julian Lewis, like they bring some really unique aspects to this offense that we didn't see with Shador because we were just running other stuff. Quentin Gibson has moves. I consider him a 5-star, honestly. I think because of his size, they say he's a 3. Yeah, if he's 5'11" doing all this, he's a 5-star. That's how I feel about it. 81 Gators, I think it's fair. Again, like I think a lot of this with Pat Shermer, it depends on kind of what your expectations are coming into the season and stuff. The offense met my expectation for what I expected. And for that, I'm happy. But hey, if you're wanting to, um, be the highest output offense in the Big 12, yeah, I don't know if you're ever going to get that with Pat Shermer. Like, I just don't know. But definitely want to see what he can do this year. And I think it can't go understated that I think, as much as I didn't want to believe it at first, I think Pat Shermer had a lot to do with Julian Lewis choosing to come here. So, yeah, like I think that there are a lot of to get into gurus. If you're in gurus Discord, there's probably some coaches that I have a little less leash for than Pat Shermer right now. Like, let's see what we can do with some continuity with the OC and DC this year, right? Then I understand, like, yeah, if we're not seeing the progression that we want to make, yeah, maybe we go in another direction. But right now, I thought that we saw enough improvement to, see what happens this next year. Yeah, Timothy, it's great news. Gerald saying Quentin will be the fastest on the team. I believe he's faster than Jimmy and the K State kid. Yes, he who shall not be named. Are we just going to call him that? The quarterback's going to Texas. Of course, they're always getting those guys. But totally agree with you, Cam Duncan. If he's 5'11", man, he's a 5-star. Hey, what's up, Radio Pastor? Captain Dave in chat. Your thoughts on our special teams recruiting? Be cool and happy, blessed New Year to all. Well, thank you so much. Regarding our special teams, can we get a freaking special teams coach in here? Been asking for one for 2 years, so hopefully we got a guy that can finally just be a special teams coordinator. That would be nice. Now that there's no limit on the amount of assistant coaches you can have, please God, bring us a special teams coordinator. But I love to see, hey, we got a punter, and his numbers are going to take a nice little make a nice little improvement as well because of the altitude, half the year, just like they did with Mark Bassett. So I think Damon Greaves is going to be great. As for the place kicking, I think we got with Buck Buchanan here and Elliott, Big Booter Arnold coming in as a true freshman. We got at least two guys that should be able to kick touchbacks pretty consistently, especially now at altitude. Buck Buchanan had a great ratio doing that at La Tech, I think it was. So again, playing at altitude half the year, just boot that thing through the end zone. We'll get better special teams play just out of the fact that we got good specialists that can do that now, hopefully. Unless something, I just don't want to have our return team have to cover every single time like they did at home this year, pretty much. So I love to see what we're doing there. Again, let's get a special teams coordinator to get these coverages taken care of. Again, when I went to my BYU preview with Saturday's Warrior, I was saying one way you guys could absolutely take advantage of us is on special teams in the return game. And, they returned one back in the Alamo Bowl. Sick of seeing that. And exactly, Cam Duncan. We do forget guys like Adrian Wilson and Farrakhan Jr. coming in here. We got some great young wide receivers coming in here. So let me ask, who on earth runs all hitches on a run design play? See, my thought is like, man, there must have been miscommunication, right? But it's a fair point. It's a fair point. Any word on Percy, Lewis, and Zai? Not yet. Hopefully I was hoping we would have gotten news today, but we don't got one. Yeah, can we get a special teams coordinator in here? Quentin Gibson is very fast. I agree with you, Ron. He's amazing. Let's go to another highlight tape over here because I hope you guys are just enjoying watching these. Let's get another long one going. About this non-district. Oh yeah, just a casual 29 receptions for like 1,000,000 yards and 1,000,000 touchdowns. He'll be second fastest on the team. Who you got as the fastest? Yeah, you gotta let us know. Gerald saying, how good is Cam McKell or Michael? Does anyone know? I don't. I mean, we know he was good in high school. Hurt most of this year, so hopefully he can use a medical red shirt. Hopefully he doesn't even need to use another traditional red shirt. But yeah, we'll have to see. But I think we're very excited to see him. But we're fixing to find out how good he is. Tell you that. In LD, I have watched some of Adrian Wilson, but it hasn't been honestly like since his commitment. But he was killing it too. Dynamic playmaker. I was real fired up watching him play, but I haven't watched him as much as Quentin Gibson, to be honest. Yeah. Okay, Simo's saying Cam is the fastest. Okay. Well, hopefully on well off here in the January workouts, we get some races on film. Yeah, he's definitely a superstar. I love it. Absolutely, Radio Passer. Andrea, hope you're doing well. For all the resources Prime has at his disposal, he is very incompetent in hiring his position coaches. Um, I think he probably, I don't know. Like, I feel like there's hits and misses. I mean, most programs go through position coach changes every year. Some of them hit, some of them don't. But um, I feel like he's hit more often than not. I will say, like, I've always disagreed with him not having somebody to just primarily oversee special teams. That has driven me absolutely insane. And again, I'm hoping that it can that can be alleviated and taken care of this year. But yeah, I'm trying to think like, okay, Bill Boyle was a bad hire. Now you can say, hey, he didn't, that was Sean Lewis's guy. He didn't even interview him being Prime. That's fair. But at the end of the day, you're responsible for who's on your staff as a head coach. Didn't hit on O'Boyle, but I would say he hit on Lowholt because we did see, I think, substantial improvement with the offensive line. Again, if you were expecting an elite offensive line performance this year, that was absolutely insane. That's not what happened, but we still did have, uh, I think when you're looking at statistics and grade wise, about a 50-ish spot jump from where we were at last year. That's really, really nice. I don't know if you could have asked for more improvement, unless you're just shelling out $10 million to the offensive line. Maybe I don't know. I thought Phil Oldholt did a good job. I would call him, especially for Jordan Seaton's success. He Phil Oldholt was a fantastic hire. So I would say Jason Phillips has been really good for the wide receivers. Um, let's see. Quarterback, offensive coordinator got wrong Sean Lewis, but I think made a good fit hire with Pat Shurmur. Again, not perfect, but the offense did not look broken. And maybe it did in spurts, but overall, it was a competent offense. We scored around 30 points a game, and we won 9 games. Like, that's awesome. So, say Pat Shurmur's a hit. I would say Kelly last year with defensive coordinator. I guess you would say he was a miss because we also sucked on defense last year. But Robert Livingston, he hired, well there. I think Kevin Mathis has turned out to be a really good hire. I think Coach Hart has, again, when you looked at the play of the linebackers this year, Nikai Hill-Green was an all-conference at the G5 level when he came out here. And we saw Nikai Hill-Green make second team All Big 12 this year. Levante Bentley had the best 2 years of his career here at CU. I can understand maybe not having the depth or maybe development that you've wanted to see, but again, we at least saw the starters play well and play the best football of their careers so far. I would say Coach Hart, somebody again that I love to hate. Like, it's fun to find that guy on the staff that you just want to blame everything for. Like, it's just fun. It's like part of being a fan, right? But after a while, you just Coach Hart can't be that guy when you got a linebacker second team All Big 12 this year. Like, that can't happen. Damian Lewis, Warren Sapp, and Coach Dancy were fantastic hires at the edge position. I would even say the guy that we had the year prior, with the development that we saw with Arden Walker specifically, the position coach we had before that go to Syracuse. Like, I thought he did a good job as well. And defensive line, Sal, I don't know. We didn't have very good guys on the defensive line. But I thought we saw some good development again with like Amari McNeil, for instance. And, Shane Cokes did play pretty well in retrospect, looking back at 2023. So maybe I'd leave Sal a little bit more up in the air. Really, the two position coaches that are kind of still on the staff that are a little bit more up in the air for me right now is just Coach Flea and Coach Bartoloni. I think, with Coach Jason Phillips coming in at the wide receiver position, again, a lot more experienced. We've had better high school recruiting and, in my opinion, better transfer recruiting as well with Jason Phillips. And we've also started to see the development, I think, that we've wanted to see, which is great. Some of that also with Coach Bartoloni when he was coaching the wide receivers. I think it also had to do with Sean Lewis and what he wanted from his wide receivers, I think was just dumb, for some of it, very choice route heavy. But at the end of the day, I think that Jason Phillips has been an upgrade. Coach Brew, at the end of the day, he got Mikey Harrison to play well, but never, developed a tight end for us that was actually a real tight end. Couldn't recruit one here, keep one here like Zico. Again, why does that communication happen to where he comes and then leaves if the expectation was to block? And now I kind of have that same kind of question mark for Bartoloni with Mateer, who was here, who, yes, he's got drops, but would have taken him over anybody we got in the tight end room right now. And you saw how crucial of a role he's had for Arizona State as like one of their, top 3 productive receiving threats. So Coach Bartoloni, I still kind of have some question marks for, as well as Coach Flea. I just that one's still a little bit tricky with the offensive line, but how much as a running backs coach can you teach vision? I'm not really sure, but that with Coach Flea, it's a little bit more of a um, kind of a like a gut feeling. I don't know. I just feel like we can be getting more out of our running backs, and I kind of similar to tight end. I've wished that we've been able to recruit better at those positions. Now we got some young guys that we have um, that we're excited for. Like I really want to see what Brandon Hood can do, or like a second year Michael Welsh, right? Isaiah Gustive, I think gives a lot to. Yeah, I think there's still a lot there, but I want to see those the potential in those guys realized. Um, and so, yeah, like overall, going back to the original question, Prime being incompetent hiring position coaches, I just don't find that to be credible. I think that he's missed on some, as coaches do. And I think what's also really important is that on the guys that he's missed on, most of them they've moved on, or he's chosen to move on from, whatever way it is, and who he's replaced them with has been a quality hire. Again, really the only position groups that I would like to see that changed up would be at tight end and running backs coach, but I understand that that's not realistic. They're going to get another year. Let's see what they can do. But again, I just think I'm a big fan of Zach Atkins. I just want to say, like, I love the fact that we got him. Hopefully, we can bring in a couple more tight ends behind him. But I just think there's a huge double standard if Coach Hart, his prime high end transfer that he brought in at the position group from a linebacker position, was coming up from D2. He would be absolutely roasted and thrown in the fire and called on Twitter to be fired immediately. Why does why does Bartoloni get a pass with um, the lack of recruiting that we've had at the tight end position, and the the same things that we've seen repeat between him and Brew, with a high end tight end coming in here and then leaving in the spring. You can say it's scheme, whatever. Well, why aren't you recruiting to where these guys understand what their role is and what they can become in this offense? Sounds like you're selling them a bag of goods that it's not coming to be true. That's how I perceive it. Um, I don't want to see that happen anymore. I think with this new offense, with Kane Salter and Julian Lewis, having a tight end involved is going to be crucial to its success. So I love that Zach Atkins sees the vision. But yeah, like again, I think it's fun to have these bits. I loved having Bill. None of my guys know their assignments. Oh Boyle, like to just scapegoat. Like it was great. And Coach Hart was kind of that guy for a little while. But again, like I just don't think that. I think there's a big double standard when it comes to how Coach Hart is talked about right now, especially when we've gotten the performance out of the starters the way that we have. Where credit to Savell Smalls for bringing it, man, but our tight end room has been a bare cupboard for 2 years, and I think Brew and Bartoloni definitely should share the majority of that criticism. It's not just Coach Flea, they just wanted to pass. Still, why aren't you banging the table to run the ball more? Why aren't you making sure that your guys, Dylan Edwards, isn't in there pass protecting on third down as a 170-pound true freshman? Like, sometimes with how you've seen, like, why are you starting Charlie Offerdahl? I love Charlie. Why are you starting Charlie Offerdahl? Oh, he knows the playbook. Why aren't you getting these other guys ready that have been here for months and months and months? Why don't they know the playbook? Why aren't they ready to pass protect? Right. Again, so it's not necessarily always the run pass ratio stuff. I can understand that, like from a recruiting standpoint, just like, hey, we don't run the ball a lot over these first 2 years, so that's going to be a disadvantage in recruiting. But it's been reported by Steve Wilfong and by other people connected to Colorado that Colorado doesn't just allocate their top spending for the linebacker position. Kind of similar to the NFL. Not a lot of teams spend big on inside linebacker, whether that's at uh, with draft capital or with salary cap allocation. So it's kind of similar to that. I would say that Coach Hart has definitely done more than with what Coach Flea has with what he's done. Both of them being in disadvantaged positions for different reasons. Um, it would be nice to have a G5 all conference running back come out here. We have an all conference linebacker coming out here in Reginald Hughes. So, um, again, I just think it's funny how certain exceptions and excuses are made for some coaches on the staff and not others. Yeah, but I think more of my issue with Coach Flea, yeah, it's again how the running backs have been used, how the rotation is, shook out. Oh, we didn't have a tight end to block. Why the hell aren't you teaching these guys how to block? Why the hell are they here if they don't know the expectation is that you're going to block? You know, and I think we fixed some of that, but yeah, that's just my 2 cents. I need to do a video on this. Maybe I'll clip this and say it's time to put respect on Coach Hart's name, man. Like, I feel that. I feel that. And, yeah, this is true. Like, Coach Hart started Trevor Woods. That's very true. Very true. And, he changed that just like, Coach Flea changed, Charlie. So, I guess they both cancel each other out. That's a good point. I'll give you that. But again, like some things just personnel wise with how the running back room has been used, I just haven't always loved it throughout the year. Ron saying it's our run blocking, bro. Trust me. Um, don't you feel like some of these guys just don't hit the freaking hole? Like, yeah. I mean, I'll trust you. I'll trust you. Our run blocking's got to be a lot better. We saw a nice bump this year in the pass protection, no doubt about it. And I think it will be better because Ron, like, shouldn't like with Kane Salter, we can run some true like zone read stuff, some triple option maybe if we wanted to with like an orbit motion, coming in, some really creative stuff. Hopefully, Pat Shermer's that creative. Um, but surely somebody like Caden Salter can help elevate the running game with still maybe, hopefully, an average run blocking offensive line. Yeah. I stand corrected now. It makes sense. Well, again, this is just my opinion. You guys are welcome. You guys are welcome to have your opinion. The only difference between you and me is I just get on here with a microphone and talk about my opinion. But yeah, like that's just kind of how I see it, man. This season, we should have at least 800 yards rusher and 2 300-yard rushers. Man, please, Lamar. I'll be very pleased. How about Caden Salter for being that 800-yard rusher, though? Didn't he run for almost 1,000 yards at Liberty in 2023? Simo, this is the prime example. Was that a pun of giving your friend a job without them being qualified? Maybe with Flea, I don't know. Isn't he the assistant head coach too? But I would say a lot of people have used that argument with Hart, but I feel like he proved it this year that we got we got competent and I would say above average linebacker play this year from our starters. Now the depth isn't necessarily there. Um, it's true. We're going to see how good of a developer he is with these guys, how good he's been able to recruit with not having the budget maybe that some of the other position coaches have, right? At the high school and transfer level. Yeah, it's just different. But I would agree. What I think we should spend most on, quarterback, left tackle, corner, right? like having a really good playmaker, like a number one wide receiver weapon, and then or like edge rusher, all that. Yeah, like all those positions need to come, and really just the trenches in general before spending a linebacker. That's how I feel. And we got Jaheim Otis, guys. We got the number one defensive lineman in the portal. Yeah, that's pretty good. And we got, a group of some really good edges returning. Dallin Hayden is who you're talking about. Bro staying in the running back of the line. Now, Dallin Hayden, he's probably who I remember most, like just not, just running in the back of people. But yeah, I think some of this stuff, maybe it'll be worked out in time where it's like, man, sometimes I didn't necessarily agree with or felt like Michael Welsh always took kind of the best path given to him, so to speak. Like it wasn't just down Hayden. Um, but yeah, can we teach a juke move? Can we make a guy miss? And I love this. Hard getting better because Hilo was there. Man, at the end of the day, he's the position coach. And wasn't Hilo also brought in to help special teams? Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but that was my understanding. They're like the special teams again. It wasn't dog shit like in 2023, but it was still pretty bad. I just think that these takes are just absolutely crazy, and it's where like sometimes guys, like I know you guys are my internet friends, but I wonder if you guys just hate seeing people happy, do their job. It's clear that Coach Hart loves what he's doing, and he didn't prove anything. Again, Nikhai Hill-Green was not an all-conference linebacker to my memory over at Charlotte, coming out here, and then he's big, all Big 12, second team. I think, like, takes like that, like, when you just phrase it like that, he didn't prove anything, that's totally false, dude. Like, he had a really good year. Um, yeah, and, Bentley and Hill-Green both came in with tools, whatever. So, I totally disagree. Totally disagree, but I do think it's fair. We'll see how he develops some of these guys like Kyron Garcia and Mantrez Walker. Um, isn't Mantrez rated higher than either of the tight end commits that we have from high school? And I'm excited about those guys, but I'm just saying, like people act like Coach Hart can't, recruit for anything. Um, I just think keep that same standard fair for everybody, but everybody just wants to shit on Coach Hart when it's by far, um, or when it's not even close to being the most concerning group on the roster. It's just not. T was going on, man. Seen all the North Crowley big games, live in South Lake. He is the best wide receiver in Texas. What's up, T? And hope you're having a great new year. Thanks for chopping it up with me at the Alamo Bowl. It was a lot of fun. This is what I'm talking about. Coach Hart is the truth. And guys, I was saying this in Guru's Discord. I think it's going to be funny, man, to see how this whole thing develops because, if the fan base is divided right now on our linebackers coach, I cannot wait till the quarterback competition kicks off between Kane Salter and Julian Lewis. It's been too long since CU's had a real quarterback controversy, with quarterbacks that are actually talented. So this is going to be a fun one. I can't wait to see how the fan base divides. It's going to be a lot of fun, but we got to all make sure to come back together, when the competition's over. Kyron Garcia is a stud. We should hear his name. I sure hope so. Uh, it, yeah, on Coach Hart front, we damn near landed Owusu Boateng until Michigan dropped the bag. Yeah, and again, like my one other source that I have out in the Big Ten that covers Ohio State, he was saying that yeah, like CU beat out Ohio State like with their whole package to recruit NOB. But yeah, it was from his understanding that Michigan outbid both of them. So It is what it is. It just happens again. I just think it's hilarious how people again, this is not Georgia yet. There are levels to this shit. Um, let's see how the offensive line shakes out. Let's see how the defensive line shakes out. That's where we need to be spending the big money, right? Quarterback. Again, Kane Salter had some options at some better programs, in my opinion, and chose to come to Colorado. And it was reported that with the UTSA linebacker, Martavius, what's his name? Martavius French. Steve Wilfong and On3 reported this as well, that he took a lesser offer to come to Colorado. And that's to do with the whole staff, as he was saying, with Corey Phillips and the whole staff in general. But um, the whole staff also means Coach Hart's part of it. And I'm sure the fact that you can sit down and say, we had a second team all Big 12 linebacker this year that was not that way before he got here, come here. And you got data to back it up now. It's now proven. Like, you can't deny that, man. Like, the fact that we got somebody like Martavius French and Reginald Hughes, I think it's going to be great for the linebacker core. And again, I don't agree with spending big money on inside linebacker. I just don't, like, from an NFL standpoint. So I understand why we don't want to do that with limited funds at CU. We are not Oregon yet. Alex, this is a good question. How does our NIL stack up against most Big 12 teams? I know there was that thing released maybe a few weeks ago on kind of like what's been estimated. I think we're like near the top third, or like in the top third of the Big 12. So I think we've made a lot of progress over the last couple of years, but in terms of like getting to that national title contention level, maybe getting to where those top 8 programs are. So we still have some ways to go, no doubt about it. But again, I think a lot of people, all this stuff, it's so quick coming, people can forget just the amount of insane progress that has been made with this. Again, getting somebody like Jaheim Otis is insane. We got Shador and Travis because of Coach Prime and the true NIL value, right? Some of these guys are having to be brought in now because of the collective. We couldn't bring them in because of the collective 2 years ago. You saw how our lines looked, particularly the defensive line looked in 2023. And I think you've seen, like, overall just the level of athlete continue to improve here. So still a ways to go, but I don't have like any definitive answers, and I question right now pretty much anybody that says they do know how much. Yeah, I do question anybody that says they know the exact amount that Colorado is spending. But I look forward to this year. Hopefully we can see them take another step with just generating more NIL, getting the fan base involved more, because there is no reason why, I think, at this rate, why we can't, get up to one of those levels, here in the future. All right, guys. Oh, Kelvin Adams saying they have to play Jalen Wester. Did you see the tackle behind the line of scrimmage he made in the bowl game? Kelvin, I got to be honest. Me being there in person and seeing us get blown out, being there with a friend that I haven't seen in a while, talking to the BYU fans, I did not watch the game closely. So, but that's great to see that he made a wonderful play, because I thought that he played well at UCF. So, against UCF. So if he's somebody else that's taking another jump, ready to play, that's awesome. And he also adds a lot of speed to the linebacker room, maybe even more speed, than Keaton Wade. So again, I still think we got some good pieces there. Would like to see us still add to it, but Jalen Wester, I would say that like going into his third year, he should be ready to have a nice role for CU this year, no doubt about it. All right, guys. I'm gonna head out, but thank you so much for being a part of my live stream. Quentin Gibson, I'm hyped about him, man. Antonio Brown, Lejante plus Jimmy equals Quentin Gibson. That's what we're gonna say, right? So, and thanks for adding to the conversation. It's always great to talk with you guys. I'll be back tomorrow. Be sure to smash that like and subscribe on the way out. As always, y'all, go Buffs.